This is an exclusive excerpt from the Stuph File Program with Peter Anthony Holder.
Relationship coach Frank Kermit is a best-selling author, educator, and a relationship columnist. He's also a certified hypnotherapist. And Frank joins us on the line once again via Skype to Skype Communications to talk about ultimatums. Hi, Frank.
How you doing, Peter?
Just tickety-boo. Thanks for being on the program with us. So, when it comes to ultimatums, I'm assuming this is never a good thing.
Well, here's the thing. Ultimatums, generally speaking, are not always welcomed, but are sometimes necessary. It always depends on the context. If someone is issuing an ultimatum, it usually means that they're at a crossroads. Either something has to change, or they're going to reevaluate whether or not they're going to continue this relationship. And sometimes it's really necessary because it might be the only way to really make your partner understand that you are very serious. Unfortunately, not everybody uses ultimatums in the right way. Some people just get so angry that they say things in a moment of anger and they issue an ultimatum they don't really mean. And that's dangerous.
Well, when somebody does that, when they do something that they don't mean, I guess it all depends on how long you've been in this relationship and how well you know the other person. Because it's like I would assume the boy that cried wolf. If you're someone who continually pulls the ultimatum card but doesn't necessarily follow through or want to follow through, doesn't it lessen the power of the ultimatum?
That's exactly right. If you are the type of person that issues an ultimatum but doesn't follow through on it when you don't get the answer you were looking for, that means that sometime in the future, when you are actually serious, when you are there saying, look, this has got to change or I'm leaving, your partner will simply not take you seriously. And the next thing you know, you're ending the relationship. Your partner doesn't understand why.
Okay, so you say there are times when it's a good thing to level an ultimatum. I guess the reality of when you're willing to do it, you also have to be willing to follow through with it, correct?
That's exactly right. And the only ultimatums that I would recommend any clients to actually issue are those ultimatums that are based on your absolute boundaries. If you're issuing an ultimatum on an absolute boundary where you would actually follow through and end the relationship, that may be the only time where I will say, yep, you may have to issue an ultimatum.
As someone who sees clients, as someone who is a relationship coach, what are situations where you see the ultimatum card played where it really shouldn't be? And I'm not talking about, people not willing to follow through, but ultimatum scenarios.
Okay, ultimatum scenarios. I've seen ultimatum scenarios where someone says, cut contact with your exes or I'm not sticking around. And that may or may not be realistic. For example, if somebody is working with their ex, or if somebody has a child with an ex and they have to communicate fairly regularly, they have a child to be responsible together. Issuing any sort of ultimatum in that sense just doesn't make sense. In other cases, I've seen people issue ultimatums in order to change the status of the relationship. I want to stop dating casually. I want us to move in together. I want us to get married. I want us to get serious. And the other person just doesn't feel that it's necessary to take that relationship to that level. Maybe they've gone through certain life stages. Maybe they've been through that process and they're not interested in getting that serious again. At that point, you knew that going in. Now, 3 or 4 years later, you want to change the nature of the relationship just because? That just does not make sense. And you can't expect that your partner is going to be receptive to these ideas.
But as you're saying, there are times when it's a good idea to give an ultimatum. Wouldn't that last case be one? I mean, if you are in a relationship and you feel that you want it to go to the next level and the other person doesn't want to go to the next level, wouldn't it be an idea to give the ultimatum at that point? Because if they say no, what are you hanging around for?
You're very, very correct on this. And what I normally advise clients is to say, did you ever discuss the nature of your relationship when you first started dating? Now, if two people get together and they say, yes, I'm open to getting married, I am open to living together, I am open to getting serious one day, and they're never following through, then absolutely, I agree with you 100%. An ultimatum does need to be issued. If, however, and this is more of what I see, people are told right from the beginning what they should expect. No, I'm not really looking to get into this. I like things just the way they are. I'm never looking to get married again. I'm never looking to get into a family situation again. When they're told this right from the beginning, and the other person sits there and waits and says, but I hope my partner will change his or her mind, that's when I say, what's the point of this ultimatum? You knew the parameters going in. By staying, you agree to those parameters. That's when I look at it and say, an ultimatum? I'm not so sure.
Now, you did, if you were very careful in making your response very gender neutral, but I'm going to muddy the waters here a little bit. And you use the old theory that the difference between men and women in a relationship is that men always think the woman's never going to change, and women always think the man will. And
And
both are wrong.
yes, both are wrong. I can tell you that in my practice, you would generally expect to see more women pushing for a very serious relationship and the man being much more hesitant. But I can also tell you there's a significant number. And, the stereotype just doesn't hold up in the actual practice. In the actual practice, I'm seeing a lot of men who say, I really want to get serious with somebody. And it's a woman who might be saying, look, I've been through the whole marriage thing. I want my freedom now. I like my life being this free, being unattached. I want to focus on raising my kids. And I'm just looking for some companionship, but I'm not ready to go through all that again. So I've actually see it on both sides. Attachment issues are not gender specific.
Okay, I want to switch gears a little bit. We have a few minutes left, and I want to talk about something a little different, but you touched on a few moments ago. And that is the situation where somebody says, I don't want you to be in contact with your ex. Now, let's remove the idea that either they work with their ex or, as you say, they have children with their ex. Let's just say it's the old adage, we just are friends. Some people can be in a relationship and break up and be friends with their exes. Some can't. But what if you're in a situation where you can be friends with your exes and want to keep your ex as a friend, and your new partner says no?
Okay, this is actually something that does come up. And the answer is, and I'm just going to give you the generic answer and then we can deal with the specific context. The generic answer is if you put anyone else, friend or family, ahead of your partner, you're going to guarantee a divorce down the road. So you always put your partner ahead of your friends and family. So if your partner is saying, no, I don't want you to be friends with that particular person, you follow through on your partner's request. Once that's done, now we get into the context of it. What was it about being friends with the ex that was a threat to your partner? Is there something in your behavior that you've done that made your ex worry? Have you ever spoken ill of your ex to that partner and your ex has reason to say, this is not good for our relationship? Have you behaved in a way where maybe in your past you've cheated with that ex with your other partners? Is there a context here where that explains why your ex is not, sorry, is there a context that would explain why your current partner is not comfortable with you having any ties with your ex? Maybe there's also the issue that, okay, it's one thing to be friendly, it's one thing to be an acquaintance, it's one thing to be on good terms with an ex. But if you are talking to your ex on a daily basis as a friend, and you spend more time in communication with your ex than you are with your partner, that's a red flag. And no partner should be in that position where someone's ex has a deeper level of emotional intimacy than the partner themselves.
Understood. But what if what if it's none of those issues? What if the reason your ex or your current partner doesn't want you with your ex at any time, in any way, shape, or form? What if the reason for that is because of
Just on principle, they just don't
well,
want
not
you
just on
talking with an
principle.
ex.
I was about to say, because what if it's just your partner's own personal baggage from previous relationships that might be tainting this situation?
Okay, let's say it comes to from your new partner's previous baggage.
Right.
If you're accepting your new partner, you're bringing your new partner into your life, you take on your partner's past baggage. It's an all or nothing deal. And if you cannot take your partner's baggage, then you really can't accept your partner fully. You shouldn't be in a relationship with your partner. I know that sounds really harsh, but I also deal with people who come to me and say, okay, I just got serious with somebody and now they've shared their past with me and I can't handle it. Well, you either are going to be accepting of it or you're not. You can't do this halfway.
It's almost
So if your partner has that baggage and it's going to have to modify some of your behaviors going forward, that's your choice. You want your partner in your life, you're going to have to make some compromises. It's not about what's fair. It's about what works.
So it's almost like a game show because you've moved on from that last relationship. The lovely parting gift you now get is a new set of luggage.
Yeah, exactly.
From somebody else entirely different. Frank, it's always a pleasure to talk to you. People can go to your website, which is franktalks.com. You also have a newsletter that you put out, right?
Yep, it's very new. It's to let people know when I do media appearances like this. I'll be sending out links. We'll be sending out information on new products and services. It's just for people to stay in contact. You might get one newsletter every week or so. And if you do sign up now, you're going to get my 13th book, 400 pages long, the best Frank Talks articles I've ever written in one volume. You get that for free emailed to you when you sign up for the newsletter.
Excellent. Frank, thank you very much for being on the program with us once again.
Peter, it's always a pleasure, and I look forward to being on in the future.
Relationship coach Frank Kermit. You can check out his website at franktalks.com to find out more about his upcoming events. You can go to my website at thestuffile.com, go to the What's On page for this show, which is show number 0243, and you'll find the link to his site.
You've just heard an exclusive excerpt from the Stuph File Program with Peter Anthony Holder. To hear any or all of the full hour-long shows, visit thestuffile.com. Stuph is spelled S-T-U-P-H. That's thestuffile.com. A presentation of Flying Fish Communications.